The lights went out. The apartment fell into complete silence. The only thing I could hear was my own breathing. Outside, the lonely street lamp was still glowing, casting a pale blue light through the curtains. I pulled out my phone and turned on the flashlight. The suitcase. It wasn't by the front door anymore. It was back on the table. Exactly where I had opened it a few minutes earlier. I froze. No. That's impossible. I clearly remembered walking away from the table. I was certain I had left the suitcase near the entrance. With trembling hands, I pointed the flashlight at the floor. The scratch marks. They were gone. As if the suitcase had never been dragged across the room. At that exact moment, my phone vibrated. A text message. No phone number. Just 3 words. He's already inside. I spun around. The apartment was empty. I checked the kitchen. The bathroom. The balcony. Under the bed. Nothing. No one. Yet the feeling that someone was watching me refused to disappear. I slowly walked back toward the table. The suitcase was open again. I knew I had closed it. The cash was still there. The envelopes were untouched. But something new rested on top of them. A small silver key. Attached to it was an old paper tag. Only 2 words were written on it. Locker 17. Before I could understand what it meant, my phone started ringing. Unknown caller. I answered immediately. You opened it. The familiar voice whispered. It was the same man who had warned me before. Who are you? What is all of this? Several seconds of silence followed. Then he finally spoke. It's too late for explanations. What do you mean? You've been chosen. Chosen by who? Another pause. Stop asking that question if you want to stay alive. My heart skipped a beat. Listen carefully, he continued. Tomorrow morning. 9 o'clock. Go to the old train station. There you'll find locker number 17. Use the key. And if I don't? His voice became cold. They won't just come back for the suitcase. They'll come back for you. The call ended. I stood there staring at my phone. Nothing made sense anymore. Maybe someone was playing a cruel joke. Maybe this was all an elaborate scam. Or maybe I had already gone too far to turn back. I looked at the suitcase one last time. The money no longer mattered. Whatever this was. It had never been about the cash. I slipped the silver key into my pocket. I left the suitcase exactly where it was. Locked the apartment. And walked downstairs. The building was silent. Outside, the streets were almost empty. A cold wind pushed old newspapers across the sidewalk. I reached my car. Something was tucked beneath the windshield wiper. Another envelope. No address. No name. Inside. A single photograph. I stopped breathing. It was a picture of me. Standing next to my car. Wearing the exact same clothes. Holding the silver key in my right hand. The photo couldn't have been older than a few seconds. Someone had taken it. Just moments ago. I slowly lifted my head and looked around. The street was empty. No people. No cars. No cameras. Nothing. Then. A calm voice spoke from directly behind me. Don't turn around, unless you're ready to learn what's really inside locker 17. I didn't turn around. Instead, I closed my eyes. The voice behind me spoke again. You've already proven you're different. What are you talking about? I asked. For 40 years, people who found that suitcase all made the same choice. They kept the money. They ran. They disappeared. I slowly tightened my grip on the silver key. I never wanted the money. I just wanted answers. For the first time, the man laughed. A quiet, genuine laugh. Exactly. I finally turned around. Standing behind me was the man in the gray coat. Only now. He didn't look frightening. He looked tired. Older. Almost familiar. He reached into his pocket and handed me an old photograph. It was faded with age. In the picture, a little boy stood beside his father. The father was smiling. The little boy was me. I looked up in disbelief. The man nodded. I knew your father. He saved my life on that train. I felt the world stop. My father died when I was a child. He did, the man replied softly. But before he died, he made me promise something. If his son ever found the suitcase, I had to make sure he wasn't after the money. I stared at the suitcase sitting on the passenger seat of my car. So, this was all a test. Not a test. A promise. The old man smiled. Your father believed that money reveals who people truly are. He hid his life's savings beneath those envelopes. But he also hid something much more valuable. I opened the suitcase one final time. Under the last false panel was a small wooden box. Inside, there was no gold. No diamonds. Just a neatly folded handwritten letter. Across the front, in faded blue ink, were 4 simple words. To my son, Ben. My hands shook as I unfolded it. The first line brought tears to my eyes. If you're reading this, then you chose kindness over greed, and that means I raised you well. He explained everything. The money had never been meant to make anyone rich. It was to be donated to families who had lost everything, exactly as he had once planned before his life was cut short. The envelopes contained the names of those families. Every single one. The man in the gray coat looked at me. So, what will you do now? I looked back at the letter. Then at the suitcase. Then at the sunrise slowly appearing over the city. For the first time in days. I wasn't afraid anymore. I'll finish what my father started. The old man smiled. Then my job is finally over. He turned and slowly walked away. I watched him disappear into the morning light. I never saw him again. Over the following months, every dollar from that suitcase found its way to the families listed in those envelopes. Some received life-saving medical treatment. Some rebuilt their homes. Some simply had food on their tables again. As for me, I didn't become rich. I became something better. I finally understood that the greatest inheritance a parent can leave isn't money. It's the kind of person their child chooses to become. And every now and then, when I walk past the old train station, I smile. Because I know that somewhere, my father kept his promise. And I kept mine.